Open mics are a major key for your development. They offer two major things that's important for any kind of artist: the opportunity to talk to other people and the chance to improve as a performer. And I hate using that word networking, it just feels icky, so I do say that. Talk to other people, get out there and just have a regular conversation. But especially when we're talking about hip hop, when you're trying to refine yourself as a performer, there's not a lot of scenarios that are more aggressive than an open mic. Everybody there is your competition, and a lot of people are not going to be hesitant to let you know that. So as a result, you go to an open mic consistently, you're going to get better, and you have to get better on stage if you're going to stand out in today's crowded market. Now, I've done every single part of the open mic process. I've thrown them, DJ'd for them, bartended them, performed, been the stage guy, the promoter. This is how you do it right and maximize your gains. So over the next few videos, we're going to talk about specific tips on how to get the most out of an open mic. We'll deal with you getting on the stage in future episodes. But today I really want to talk about the foundation of an open mic and what makes them so special. It's an opportunity for a community to build. And the difference that separates good ones from bad ones usually stems from the support of the scene that builds it up, the artists that actually build it from the ground up. So with that in mind, especially, I make it a rule of thumb to never perform the first time I go to an open mic. And I think it's important to say that. I see a lot of people show up the first time that they hear about an open mic with their music ready to do it. And sure, you might be able to get through the night and perform. There's not a lot of stakes involved, but there's a lot of other ways to do it better. And something that's really important to remember, there's two real things, but the first thing for me is the most important. You want to show respect to the people that have been there on a consistent basis. If this open mic has been going on for, a couple of months or a couple of years, and you pop in today and all of a sudden nobody knows you, but they see you on stage, it just kind of leaves a weird feeling, even though it doesn't necessarily have to. I think it's a lot more respectful to go, be supportive, be genuine, encourage other artists, and maybe get yourself a little bit known before you decide to venture onto the stage. And there's a lot of other benefits to doing it that way, and we'll talk about it. Now, the second reason I never perform at an open mic the first time I go to it, you don't know the vibe yet. And why shoot yourself in the foot and shoot blind if you can go a few times and learn what the scene is like and make a better decision as to how you're going to approach the night. Go learn the format. Learn what songs work. Hell, learn if it even makes sense for you to go to this open mic. If you're a trap rapper and the entire lineup that you see the first time you visit is acoustic guitar and singer-songwriter types, does it even make sense for you to present your library of music there? And if so, do you need to make any adjustments to make sure it works? If you just decide to show up one day and perform without doing that research and doing your homework beforehand, again, you'll probably make it through the night, but you might have made some different decisions if you had that information ahead of time. So why not take advantage of it? You can be genuinely supportive and come back every week and learn. Before we move on, I should make a side note. If you research an open mic and you see that it's not necessarily hip-hop themed, there's a bunch of guitar players, for example, like we said before, don't necessarily check it off of your list. It might just take some refinements. I've had cases as an MC where I realized bringing in my beats and rapping over them wouldn't work. So I rapped over a tap dancer that was one of the performers. I rapped over acoustic guitar players. It's not necessarily about disqualifying a place. It's about going and knowing, okay, this is how I'm going to have to translate my music to this place for it to make sense. And then that draws people to your music in an offline environment and they can hear the real you. So I can't stress this enough. It's really about something I call the SAS approach, and that's scout and support. Before you hit that stage, you should do everything you can to support that stage without being an artist. And again, I hate that word network. Have genuine conversations with people. Learn about them as artists. Do them a solid when somebody's on stage. Take photos of their performance. Take videos of their performance. And then when they're done, say, hey, I have these videos. Where can I send it off to? And this does two things. It helps somebody out, and that's free karma points, right? but it also opens up a line of communication between you two. If you have to email these photos later or text these photos later, this is somebody that you can follow up on. And if you're advanced enough and smart enough in your career, this is a name you can put into your CRM tool and schedule some follow-ups on your calendar for. If I came out one week and did somebody a solid, did all this stuff for them, and then came out the next week and performed, they'll probably be more inclined to return the favor or just show support because they have a relationship with me. So do what you can, be helpful. Something that we really ignore in hip hop a lot is this ethos of being valuable to people and helping people out. We always are looking for someone to bail us out or help us out. And the more you try to invert that and say, hey, how can I offer value to this room, the better off you're going to be. Go home, follow up with the artists that you enjoyed hearing from, hit them up on Instagram, say, hey, I really enjoyed the set. You know, are you going to be at the next open mic? Stay in touch with these people. This is how the community builds. All this is stuff that we can do before you even think about your own set that will benefit you when you're ready to get on the stage. So you've gotten home, you've gone to a couple of these shows, and you've decided, I want to perform at one of these open mics. The next thing that I recommend doing is choosing your song or songs that you're going to perform. And I usually recommend trying to do this the night you get back after an open mic or the next day when it's really fresh in your mind, because you'll have a better idea of which one of your songs or which songs in your catalog will work for the room. And you got to be really honest about this. There's no point in just playing and performing your favorite record if it's just doesn't work in that room, if it doesn't work in that environment. So pick the songs that you're absolutely sure about and then start practicing those immediately. The earlier you can pick that, the earlier you can start to dedicate time to learning how you want to perform the record. Once you choose the song or the songs that you want to perform, try to find out what format the DJ or the organizer likes to get the music in. I like to work with artists and prepare what's called a DJ pack for live performances. So if you have a song or songs that you want to do on stage, we do two things. We'll make versions of these songs you can perform to that take out the lead vocal. You have your hook and you have, some of your ad libs. But then you also format that for DJ software. So if you're a Serato DJ, if you're a Traktor DJ, if you're an Ableton DJ, you can hand over a file to a DJ that is mapped for that software. It's gridded, it's BPM locked, you have markers on the hook, markers on the first verse. And the more you get into a habit of handing over files to DJs like that, the more they're going to love working with you. If you have any questions about what's the best format to get your music to a DJ in, hit me up. I think that's really important. Being professional and being prepared really stems from the tools you bring with you. And as a rapper at an open mic, the source material is a big part of your toolkit. So we can talk about that for days if you need help with that. So during this time, you're figuring out what songs you want to perform. You also should double check and see how to sign up for this open mic. Sometimes you can do it online ahead of time. Sometimes you have to wait until the day of the performance. But I find that if you can do it ahead of time, it benefits you to do so. It usually means you get a better pick of when you want to perform. So do that if you haven't already. And where possible, get the songs to the DJ ahead of time. If there's anything I can stress, it's catering to the organizer of these events and catering to whoever has to play the music will benefit you in the long run. I used to do open mics in Jersey, for example. Shout out to the homie Lana, who is one of the best event organizers I would work with. And she would always get me TV tracks from her artists that are going to perform, or stage tracks from her artists that were going to perform well ahead of time. And the people that were on top of it, I got familiar with their names way before the event. And as time went by, I would get other stage tracks trickled in. And every time I opened up that email, I'd see those first people again and again and again and again. So by the time I got out to Jersey, those were the names that I felt comfortable with. They were people that I felt like I owed something to because they were so on point and they were so ahead of getting their tracks to me. So it's something you really should get in a habit of. I think everyone tries to cater to the crowd or cater to themselves as artists. And when you can cater to the people that are behind the scenes, it goes a long way for live performance. Hopefully by now you have songs submitted to the DJ. You've applied for the open mic if you can do that ahead of time. The rest of this time before you actually do your thing should be spent doing two things: following up with other artists, just so you're continuing to build in that community, and promoting the event. Be somebody that is an advocate for the event. Be somebody that the organizers can rely on for getting the word out. Don't wait until a day or two before. Start the groundwork early and just hit people up. Don't necessarily just post on social media. Let folks know I'm going to be at this open mic. It would be really cool if you came out and let me know what you think. So in the next video, we're going to talk about what to do on the day of the performance. So be sure to like and subscribe so you do not miss when that's out. But the last thing that I want to talk about is really important, and I learned it a little later on. When it comes down to open mics, it is vital to partner up with somebody on the day that you're going to perform. It's basically like the old school buddy system. You're going to need an additional set of hands to help you out with things when you're going to do a performance. Hopefully you've been promoting ahead of time, and as a result, you've got some friends that have said, hey, I'm definitely going to be there, and they want to link up. What I would recommend is saying, hey, thanks, I'm so glad you're going to come out. Let me take you to dinner beforehand, or let me get your drinks for the night. I could actually use a hand with some things if you don't mind. If it's a good friend, they'll probably take care of you, and it shouldn't cost you more than a couple of beers. But here's why you want somebody that's kind of your partner or your partner in crime during an open mic scenario. First things first, you want photos and videos of your performance, and who's gonna get those while you're performing? Don't be one of those people with their phone out doing this joint on. It's corny. Have somebody there that can take pictures, just a few, take a quick video. That kind of content that you can post later on is really, really, really important. So that's a huge key that only takes them a couple of minutes, and I think it's a super fair trade-off for grabbing dinner or grabbing a couple of beers for a homie. Second reason might seem kind of silly, but especially in hip-hop and especially in small venues, it makes sense. You might need somebody there to watch your stuff. If there's no coat check and you came in with a heavy coat, or you came in with a bag for gear or merch, or just crap that you don't want on stage, and your brand and your imaging is important to you because it should be, it really helps to have somebody there that can keep an eye on your things for the few minutes that you're going to be on stage. Who else is going to do it if there's no coat check and no organizer? Don't be the person throwing your stuff under the DJ booth. We hate that. I promise you we hate that. But the last thing I'll talk about is just having an extra set of eyes and ears in the crowd while you perform. If your microphone isn't on or it's too low, who's going to tell the sound man? The other rappers that want to sound better than you? Nah.
Oh, shit, partner, you should be paying.
They're probably going to tell the sound man after your performance. If you have a homie there, they'll do you that solid, especially if you let them know to look out for it. And they'll be sure that you can be heard when you're on stage. If somebody likes the song that you're doing and they say, damn, this shit is hard, who is this? Who's going to fill them in? You can't do that from the stage. You can't throw a business card from the top of the stage. But if you have somebody there that overhears that, they can speak on your behalf. And it happens, and that's important. Anytime you have a chance to pull a fan in the flesh, if somebody can do that for you, you want them to do that. It's a really saturated market. And lastly, after this is all done, who's going to give you feedback? If you have somebody that you talk to ahead of time and say, hey, I've got a thick skin and developed this, I want you to tell me how I did. How did the show look? That's what this person is for. So partner up with somebody. If you don't have a friend that can do this, hit up one of those artists that you've been following up with. Kind of trade off and say, hey, I'll take photos for you if you take photos for me. I'll give you feedback if you want it. If you can give me feedback. This is how really, really great relationships can start up, actually. I think sometimes it might even make more sense to use an artist for something like this because they'll understand the importance of it a little more than a friend might. So hopefully this gives you a lot to think about. We haven't even gotten to the day of your performance, but already there's a lot of key things you can do as an artist to make sure you maximize going to your open mics. Scout the scene, support the scene, get that free karma, make yourself known, and make yourself a positive influence on those around you. Make sure you sign up ahead of time, get your music in a good format. Again, hit me up in the comments if I can help with that, and get that music out to the DJ as quickly as you can. And lastly, partner up. Link up with somebody that can be your extra set of hands, eyes, and ears when you're out on stage, hopefully killing it for the first time. So be sure to subscribe for the next episode, and we'll talk about some ways to kill it the day of the performance.
Man, this shit is sick.